The Sonic Unleashed decompilation project. I saw this. I haven't watched the video, but I know a lot of people are very excited about this being a thing. I have had people be like, "Hey, Brodie, you should play Sonic Unleashed." I've actually never played it. I have actually never played the game before, so I am more than happy to try it out because of this. But let's watch Modern Vintage Gamer. I'm a big fan of his channel. Everyone should be. He makes great videos. Yeah. Yeah, we need a modded version of Sonic 06. That's what we need.
There was a massive announcement in the preservation and the Sonic community.
How's audio levels?
The announcement of Unleashed Recompiled. This is Sonic Unleashed running as a native PC port. This was something that none of us really ever expected to see, mainly because Sonic Unleashed was a game that was stuck in limbo on the Xbox 360 and the Sony PlayStation 3. Now, there are ways to play games, obviously, via emulation. There's
RPCS3 works pretty well nowadays.
Xenia. These particular emulators in their own right are superb, but everyone out there is probably always going to...
My understanding is RPCS3 is in a lot better of a state than Xenia is, but I could be mistaken there.
Want a native PC port or a native port to their target system above and beyond anything else. And in today's episode, I'm very excited about what has happened here, because this particular PC port of Sonic Unleashed is using a process known as static recompilation, which is effectively taking an Xbox 360 game, decompiling it into C code, which is then recompiled on the PC as a native port. This is very exciting stuff. It's something that we talked about on the N64 last year, and this is kind of the next evolution of that. So let's take a closer look at everything. So this is the particular
I think the coolest thing about this is they've just gone and released their tooling, right? Like, they didn't just want to be like, hey, we're going to do it. We're going to do this one thing and that's it. Like, they've just gone ahead and be like, yeah, anyone else want to do this? We might get sued at some point, but hey, if anyone else wants to do this before we get sued, here's the code.
In question, it's known as Unleashed Recompiled. And as we can see here, it's saying Unleashed Recompiled is an unofficial PC port of the Xbox 360 version of Sonic Unleashed.
I'm pretty sure there's a flat pack of it, if I recall correctly.
Created through the process of static recompilation. The port offers Windows and Linux support with numerous built-in enhancements such as high resolutions, ultra-wide support, high frame rates, improved performance, and modding. And I was able to verify these particular enhancements myself. If you go into the options menu when you do launch the game, you'll see that there is the ability for you to adjust the aspect ratio.
Look at this, an FPS slider that's not just set FPS.
From anywhere from 4:3 aspect ratio for the classic PlayStation 2 version of the game, all the way up to ultra-wide aspect ratios. I'm running at 16:9 because I have a 4K display. You can also enhance the internal resolution of the game.
Oh, wow.
I'm running a pretty beefy PC here, so I have no issues running the game at 150%, which is a lot higher than the internal 4K resolution that the game is currently running at. As well as this, the frame rate can also be adjusted.
It looks very crisp.
Higher. I have a 144 Hz display, and it takes advantage of that without breaking a sweat. This is really awesome to see.
It does look like it's stuttering, though.
If you do increase the frame rate of the game, there is a disclaimer that you may have some unexpected issues, but
probably
this is
physics
only really
problems,
because the game was never developed with anything higher than 60 FPS in mind in the first place. But so far, at least playing the first couple of stages of the game, I haven't run across any issues at all. Now, in order
Maybe
to
they wrote
get
the game
up
sensibly.
and running on your particular PC, you obviously need a copy of the original game, and that means you'll need to rip the ISO from an original copy of the disc. Now,
well, I'm not saying you can or you should, but you know, there are other methods.
In order to do that, you'll need a modded Xbox 360. And of course, we're not going to go into detail on how to do that in this particular episode, but let's just say if you do want to rip an ISO of Sonic Unleashed, there's many ways to do it. Getting a modded Xbox 360 is the preferred option. There are, of course, other means to do so, but we're not going to get into the legalities of all that stuff here. But as you can see here, we do have the flat
there you go,
pack,
there's the
which
flat
can
pack.
be run on a Linux system, which means that a Steam Deck version is supported, and I'm told that on the Steam Deck it runs exceptionally well, as smooth as butter. We also have a Windows version as well that you can download. And another interesting thing here is that the minimum system requirements aren't really that demanding. You do need a DirectX 12 card, but even something as weak as a GeForce GT 630 is supported. And I was able to run this on my B-Link mini PC, which is a pretty low spec PC.
Well, good. Yeah, it's running natively on the system, so it's not doing any like weird emulation stuff anymore. So I'd be very surprised if it did take any weird hardware, any like high-end hardware to run this. Some people, not me, I'm a good boy, can find some ISOs that fell off a truck online. Exactly, yeah. They just, like, fell off a truck. They're just, like, you know, they're scattered around somewhere. You can just, like, see them on the ground.
That only cost $150 on Amazon, and it runs as smooth as butter there as well. Of course, there's not really the ability to enhance internal resolutions and kind of max out the FPS, but you can still get a very good experience even on the lower spec PCs. Now, the way that Sonic Unleashed works on
Did you forget to do a cut there?
The lower spec PCs. But you can still get a very good experience even on the lower spec PCs.
I don't know why that's making me laugh so much.
Now, the way that Sonic Unleashed works on the PC is using a process known as static recompilation. And this is very similar to what we were talking about last year when we were talking about Nintendo 64 recompilation. And the actual heavy lifting is done in this instance by a piece of software known as Xenon Recomp. And if you look at the first sentence here,
I feel the Sonic is healing.
It says Xenon Recomp is a tool that converts
Xbox
360 executables.
Yeah, I can deal with that. I don't know if I can deal with it right now, but I can definitely deal with it. Wait, did I deal with it here? Hold up. I did. Okay, maybe that'll be better.
Into C++ code, which can then be recompiled for any platform. Currently, it only supports x86 platforms due to the use of x86 intrinsics.
Sure.
The project was heavily inspired by N64 recompiled.
I would be surprised if you ever get support for ARM with games that are built for... The 360 was an x86 system, wasn't it? I don't think it was PowerPC. No, it wasn't. Wait. It actually... Hold up. Xbox 360 architecture. I'm pretty sure it was x86. Yeah, thought so. Wait, is it? No, wait, it actually might be PowerPC. Okay, no, take back everything I said. Theoretically, I guess if you can do if you go from PowerPC to x86, I guess you could do that. That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
For N64 executables. Now, it does have a disclaimer at the moment that it only supports x86 platforms because of the x86 intrinsics, and obviously that may be something that changes at a later date. But this is very similar to...
Wait, no, that doesn't... Am I reading this wrong then? Xbox 360... Here is the Wikipedia page. Apparently it's a PowerPC CPU. Unless you can show me something otherwise?
What we saw with the N64 decompilation stuff last year, where we took one of the games, one of the ROM files, and were able to basically just extract it out and to convert it all into C code. This is essentially doing the same thing, but obviously it's a lot more advanced than the N64. Now, the second portion is the Xenos Recomp. Because we're talking about the Xbox 360, we're talking about heavy use of shaders. In almost every single game, there's going to be shaders that need to be compiled and run, which means they can then be taken and then recompiled with a modern DirectX shader compiler like DXC, and can be used with DirectX 12 or Vulkan. And both of these two pieces make up the Sonic Unleashed project itself.
Okay.
Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, MVG, what about targeting other games. There are a lot of 360 games that never made it to the
That would be cool. There is a lot of 360 games that would be nice to have on PC.
There are a lot of delisted games that never, you know, were never released again. And there are some games that come to mind that I can think about, games such as Far Cry Instincts, Afterburner Climax, the GoldenEye 007 remake that never was released. There's all sorts of stuff that I could think of off the top of my head that could really benefit from a tool like this. Well, the good news is that these tools are available, and you can start using these recompilation tools against these Xbox 360 games. But I will say that you have to have some skill in reverse engineering and understanding of the target hardware you're working with at a pretty kind of intimate level. And I think it's not really fair to say that anyone that is an expert in C++ but doesn't really have any knowledge of, you know, intrinsics and target hardware at that level, at the architecture level, it's going to be very difficult. But if you are someone that is skilled in reverse engineering, you do know your way around,
I am not that person.
Familiar with, you know, the target hardware that you're trying to
enjoy C++.
Decompile code on,
good for you.
Then you will be able to run these tools. But don't expect, you know, magic here where you can just kind of drag and drop a executable and it just spits out C code or C++ code.
It would, you know, it would be nice if it was that easy, but hey, you know, no fun for you.
A ways away from something like that, but this is still very much a.
But hey, at least for the people who do have that reverse engineering knowledge, now they have a tool set they can build off of. So there's gonna be people in pretty much every big game community who have some level of knowledge here, who can start working on projects, who may have already started working on projects, but now they have a much simpler baseline to work off of.
Exciting announcement, and it really does open up the possibilities of what we can see on the PC from the Xbox 360. I've always said that preservation is something that is not just one particular track. It's not just emulation. It's the combination of all sorts of different things. And what you'll find is most of these things have been done by the community. We're not talking about the hardware makers. We're not talking about the publishers.
One other thing is, like, as more games get worked on like this, it's going to get easier because there's going to be more people who've done it. There's going to be more documentation on doing so. So even if you're not someone who is extremely knowledgeable, once, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20 games are done, it's going to be so much easier to get in, like, to get in there just because of that earlier baseline.
Something that the community is working on actively.
Now, someone has to do that work,
it's very,
but, you know,
very exciting to see. Now, I will leave links to everything that you saw in the description below. And look, check out Sonic Unleashed yourself. If you do have a copy of the game, feel free to try out the executable. I think it's awesome. And for Sonic fans especially, they'll be very happy to see this. I can't wait to see if and when we start to see more from this particular tool. But what's fantastic and what's really interesting is that these tools are slowly becoming available. We're getting to the point now where it feels like traditional emulation, while it's still very much important and still very much front and center, what will preserve video games is not the only option when it comes to preserving video games.
Which is very exciting. Being able to take these games and then put them natively on PC. There is a lot of work that's gone into these emulators, right? And you can do... There's like some level of modding support that can exist in the emulators. But having a decompiled version of the game opens up so much, right? Like, it might not be the easiest thing, like modding a UE5 game, but people who are determined, having this available just, it's too convoluted and complicated for my taste, if that's fair. Oh, you mean C++? But like, this is an exciting time, a really exciting time. I've heard of new AI stuff that builds games out of game footage. I heard about that, I've not looked into it though. If you can, like, if you know of a video that's good about that, I would like to hear. Would that be legal like recomps? Well, the legality of recomps is in a weird place as well. That depends on the jurisdiction. I don't really know where that goes.
These decompilation tools are
No, not the AI Minecraft one. That's a different thing.
very, very important. And as architectures become more complex, it means that these types of tools really are the only way forward for us. So let me know your thoughts about the very exciting news of Sonic Unleashed on the PC. Let me know which games you want to see with recompilation on the PC from the Xbox 360. Very exciting stuff. We're going to leave it here. Thanks so much for watching.
Honestly, I would be very excited to see this be done on the PS3. Because the PS3, there are so many games that are never going to be moved off of that thing. Because they're just... The PS3 is such a weird architecture. And I don't know how well these games would run on PC, even if you could do it. But it would be so cool to be able to take something like Drakengard 3 and put it onto PC. Or like there's countless random little JRPGs that are only on the PS3. It's probably a lot harder than the Xbox. But if people are doing this work, it opens up the door. It gives me hope.
I'll leave various links to everything you saw in the description below.
Uncharted on PC.
We'll catch you guys.
Did that never get released on PC?
Bye for now.
As always, great video from MVG. I'm a big fan of the channel. Go watch his stuff. I am so excited to see what happens in this space. Like, it's not a perfect solution by any means, but having this here, making it so it's actually a thing that can be done, I think is just cool, frankly.